Now we're going to secure our camera cable down to our board. So once again, I've run from a Pololu to this aux 2. I've got 9 volts, negative and positive there. So I'm going to secure that down over there to our board. Then have these terminating on the pads, and then I'm going to run the signal wire to the VTX later. So what we can do is go ahead and just trim these to length, like so. Making up boards like this really does make them really nice and neat, because you have all the space to work and you're not trying to cram stuff in. You can actually lay stuff out and think about it a bit. So just getting that out of the way for a second. Obviously I've turned the heat down on this stuff quite substantially. I'm at about 330 or so, 350 degrees on the soldering iron. Okay, just bring those two together. Just turn that, turn the next one. Okay. Bring our board back into shot. Get the rest of these wires out the way. Pull back the paracord a bit, just so you can get the signal wire out the way. Place our wires on the contacts. That one's done. That one's done. Now you can push the paracord all the way back to the edge of the board, like so. Zip tie that down in place like that. Going to do the same on the back for the VTX, so we'll go ahead and do that. Starting from our motor number 1, just going to trace that out so that I have enough wire. That's plenty. Just going to hold that, cut it to length, just trim back that wire. So we have a tiny bit, I mean that's like 1.5 millimeters or so that I've exposed there. I'm just going to tin this up. Remember the temperature on this tip is very low. It's probably 325, 330 degrees. Which is ample for wire of 30 gauge. Then I'm just going to go ahead and just tin some new solder onto all the pads here. Okay, do it again. Number 1, voltage ground 1. 2, 3, 4. There's a solder out the way. Okay, so just get this into position, hold it down, and there you go, it's back in place. So what you can see, I've now soldered my signal wire in place, but I still haven't restricted. I've got loads of space here, so when I flip it upside down we are good, but I've also got a massive amount of space here to work. I'm not restricting myself and trying to get into small corners and stuff, and I think that makes a big difference when you're trying to do like a nice neat build. Make yourself comfortable and be lazy. Give yourself enough room to work and plan out what you're about to do before you actually do it. So now I'm just going to go along and do 2, 3, 4. Okay guys, so we've got the 4 signal wires from our ESC soldered down there. We've got our 5-volt supply coming from this guy, and then we've got our VBAT monitoring positive negative from those. So I'm just going to route those around the side here next to the pololu. Flip this over and just hold that in position. You can see there that we have actually got the signal leads just stuck under the pololu board. So just push them off to the side like that. Tuck everything nicely, neatly in position. And I'm just going to use 2 nylon standoffs just to hold this all in place so that we don't let the stuff shift around and we run the risk of actually trapping a wire in between the board and the standoff below. So I'll just button those down, and those are all good. Now what we can do is we can run our 5-volt supply and our VBAT on top of the board. We've already got everything else in position, and this part of the build will then be finished. So just waiting for the soldering iron to heat up. In the meantime, what we can do is actually just zip tie all the wires down in place, offer up some relief for all those wires. So you'll see, just feed that through there like that. Just get the cursor like that, just to get all those wires buttoned down there. And these don't have to be super tight, they're just to offer up a bit of relief there. And just get this out the way, bend that back, that, and get all of this. Okay, so we can feed this one through as well. Around there. And just button that down. Okay, so that's good to go, that's ready, that's down, that's in. I can just trim these off. Trim that one off. Okay, fold that back out the way. Not going to be needing any of those. Okay, so soldering iron is now up to speed. Also on a low temperature. I've tinned those wires and tinned this one as well in the meantime. So we're going to need 5-volt supply going there. And done. You'll see I'm a huge fan of these pigtails. You'll see in later builds that I use them extensively, so we can pull that out now. We've got our little pigtail jumper. Quite a bit of excess wiring. I mean, I have made these loops quite big, but I'd rather do that than have wires bending through crazy angles and putting a lot of unnecessary stress on things. So that now is, if we just zoom out a bit, clear all this out the way, that is the biggest part of our build now, absolutely buttoned up. got all our ESCs on, we're ready to plug in to our camera, ready to plug into our VTX, our receivers on, our buzzers in, we've got VBAT, we've got our XT60 ready to go. This is 90% of the build already done.